let me tell you all a sad story. So, I rode a jet ski for the first time last year, and I really, really loved it. After that, I was like, hey, I really want a jet ski. Like, not super fast or not like the racing types, but I just want a mediocre jet ski that's, you know, newer, 4-stroke that I can ride around. So I've been saving up money for almost a whole year so I could get myself a jet ski. Finally found the jet ski I wanted. Contacted the seller, went to the bank, got the money in cash, and I was like, okay, let me test my tow rig, which is my 2004 Honda Pilot with almost 300,000 miles on it. We're like 270. So I was like, okay, let me just look it over. And I've been hearing some rattling noises, like metallic noises in the back. So I was like, oh, it's probably a heat shield or something. But the day before, I was like, okay, let me just have a peek at it. Stood on the hitch, and it was a little wobbly. Because, you know, the actual hitch receiver that's bolted up is supposed to be pretty firm. Ended up taking the hitch ball part out. Looked decent, and I was like, something still doesn't feel right, so I decided to take the rear bumper off, because, you know, it's what, 4 bolts, few screws, or like 6 bolts, few screws, not too bad. Well, besides having to drill out a rusted bolt, all that, I take it out, take the bumper off, only to realize, the rear bumper support, the metal piece, completely rusted through, falling apart, just fell on the ground as soon as I took the bumper off. It pulled away from the body. That's what was rattling around. I was like, oof, that's not good. Looked at the hitch. I could see clean through, and my frame is rusted. Like, rusted on both sides. The hitch is just hanging on there by, like, barely anything. I stood on the hitch, and it can hold like 200, well, 250, but that's about it. So, I'm not selling my Pilot. I love this thing too much to sell over a jet ski. Brah, nah. So, headed over to the hardware store, and it's probably not going to be DOT legal or road legal, but I'm going to be fixing up the rear frame just so I can tow a 900,000-pound jet ski behind it from lake to lake. Probably local trips. I'm not going to be towing it from state to state. Just something that I can tow safely with it that will give me peace of mind to tow down the road, down the highways. Yeah, let's get into it. Again, don't advise anyone else doing this. I'm only doing it because I love my Pilot. I fixed the rear subframe, and I can weld halfway decently. And I sort of tiny bit know what I'm doing. Like, that's very little. Just research and learning how to weld. Don't advise anyone doing this, especially if you're going to tow heavy stuff, because it's unibody. It's not super strong. There's not a lot to weld to. That being said, I'm only doing it because I don't anticipate more than 1,500 pounds. So it's going to be super light duty, maybe even a small trailer to haul grass, not more than 1,500 pounds. So I'm doing this overkill just to make sure it doesn't come off on the highway, kill someone or something like that. So I'm taking all the precautions. I'll be doing this super safe. So, but I haven't seen anyone else doing this on the Pilot, so that's why I'm here. I'm going to see if this turns out, and you'll know by the end of the video if this actually works, or if I spent a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy for nothing. So let's get started. So the hitch is still holding on. You can see the car is moving when I step on it. However, here is where that brace attaches to. It attaches one bolt here, one bolt on the other side, and there's usually a covering over here. Well, as you can see, the rust's got to it. It's missing this side. There's supposed to be a brace on this side. Rust got to it. I did the hole punch test, where you grab a screwdriver, and if you punch through, you got no metal. So that punched through. As you can see, clean through. This metal is still good. So I'll be completely removing the bottom. As you can see, here's the bolt of like the hitch. So it's just barely holding on. The other piece is barely holding on. That last one is The last bolt is what's holding it together. And then we got the same exact story on this side. This side's just a little bit worse because the muffler's here. Yeah, it's rusted through. The hitch will be coming off. I'll be patching this, and you can see that bar broke away right here. Hope I don't get tetanus. And then I'll have to remove that bracket, clean this up. So here are the remains. This was a super solid piece of rear bumper beam that's just turned into rust. I'd like bend it more, but I don't have my tetanus shot. So it's, I mean, crusted away. That was all that's in the hitch. Oh, look, found a screw. That'll come in handy for later. So it's all super rusted and gone. I have one of these on order to replace this one, because that's not going back. And I know you, dear viewer, are wondering, well, how am I gonna bolt up the hitch to what, since it's so rusty with holes in it? Well, I'm basically doing what I did with my subframe video. If you haven't seen that, watch that. Maybe I'll get sponsored one day. Anyways, I'm taking this 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 4-inch wide piece of steel. I believe this is the red one. I think that's cold rolled. I'm probably wrong, but it's not the strongest stuff, but this is all that Menards would have, and Fleet Farm. I bought 3 from Fleet Farm, 3 from Menards, and cleaned them out. So they don't have any, they're not getting any for 2 weeks, so I hope this is enough, or else I'll have to go visit Home Depot and some other stuff. So, like I said, got 6 of these. Yeah, that's 6. Got 6 of these. I'll be measuring and then cutting. Hopefully I can cut with the reciprocating saw. If not, I got that. Also got this. So that's what I'm hoping for. But like anything, I guess we'll see if it'll work out or not. My goal is to redo the actual frame. So I haven't looked underneath it for too far because it was cold and the ground's cold. So I guess we'll see what I decide on, how I decide to weld, because at this point, you, dear viewer, know more than me. So this is pretty much how the repair is done. It is right about to be sprayed over with rust encapsulator, and then this rubberized stuff I've been using for a few years. So I have one plate here. This is 1/4 inch welded to a 1/4 inch plate. I have a little support system right here. I also have an angle plate that goes on the other side of the car, and then I have one other plate on the other side here. This is the left side. I have 2 bolts welded in, and then I have one on a piece of metal that's longer than it can go in, so it goes in sideways. I have this rod that's welded to it so that I can just put this bolt in, and then I can spin the bolt, but the nut inside won't be able to spin. And then I have the exact, well, near exact opposite on the other side. Plate, supporting plate. I've got 2 plates here just because I ran out with one. 2 plates, 3 bolts welded in, 1 nut on a stick. I've got this angle, well, not a right angle, but close enough. And then you can see here's another plate. It's gone up pretty high, and then it's welded in a few spots here. Couldn't get the welder all the way up there, so it's just as best that I could. And then on the inside I have just a plate, again 1/4 inch, bolt through it that connects this upper piece with the bottom piece. Same story on the other side as well, except it's just scraps that I use because that's all I had left and didn't want to go to a hardware store.